Hi everyone, Pesach is over, but we're still in the month of Nisan. We don't see Tachnun. We got to feel the freedom coming out of Pesach. But we have something else very special, and this is the Parsha coming up this week is Parshat Shmini. And as we know that this year is a very special year regarding this parasha, because we read this parasha 8 times, because through the idea of Pesach that we don't read the parasha for 2 weeks, so we're having 8 times being repeated reading the parasha at Parshat Shmini until Shabbos that we're going to read it. It'll be time number 8, and as it's being said about it, Shmini, Shmona, Shmena. When Parshat Shmini is read Shmona 8 times, Shmena means fat. It's going to be a fat year, full of schmaltz, as they say, full of good and abundance. So just one line regarding this parasha, and in this week we're learning about the big story of the passing away of the 2 sons of Aaron, Nadav and Avihu, when they went inside with 4 fires, the Torah says, and they perished. And there's many explanations. What happened there? Where did things go wrong? As we know, they were great tzaddikim, that's for sure. As Moshe told Aaron that they were greater than me and you, as we learn in this parsha. So what happened there? And as we said, there's many different opinions. One of the opinions, Rashi brings the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, and he says the reason why it happened is because they did not follow the orders of Moshe Rabbeinu, meaning to say they did not ask him first before they did it. And because of the respect lacking, because if you have a Rav in front of you, you have to ask him first before you do it, even though it's the greatest thing. This is why this happened to him. And this comes the great question, what's about Aaron? Aaron is the father. Why doesn't Rabbi Eliezer says that the reason is because they didn't respect the father. So if you see, I see something very interesting in this story, that it's not the same. And we see it also somewhere else. We just passed Pesach. You know, Pesach, one of the great important mitzvot by the Seder is that we have to lean back when we drink the wine, when we eat the matzah, to our left, out of freedom. So there's a law that if you're sitting in front of your rabbi, you should not lean back out of respect to the rabbi. But it's interesting, there's no law like this regarding to your father. If you sit in front of your father, you should lean back. What does it mean? To the father, you don't have to respect, only the rabbi. And the explanation there, and the same thing applies over here too. A son with a father, a girl with a dad, they're very close. So even though it looks like unrespectful, but it's still respectful, the father will always forgive. It's a different relationship. But when it comes a master, it becomes your teacher, it becomes your rabbi, it's a different story. There, on Pesach, you should not lean back. And from there we derive the same idea in our story. Aaron was the father, but the father, it's okay, there's forgiveness there, there's no reason to be punished for that. You can forget about it. But when it comes your rabbi sitting in front of you and you don't ask him, Rabbi Eliezer said, it's a problem. You can do the greatest thing, but in front of your rabbi you have to great respect. Can't do anything. And this is, as we said before, on Pesach too, even though leaning back on Pesach is such a big mitzvah. And as it says, many opinions, if you didn't lean back while you ate the matzah, you have to read the matzah again. But when you're in front of the rabbi, everything gets pushed away. You have to respect. You don't lean back. As we know the story with the Rebbe, when he would sit by the Seder with his father-in-law, and there was father-in-law and his rabbi and his great Rebbe, he didn't lean back because that's the law. And as we know the story, we spoke about it many times, even after his father-in-law, the Rebbe, before passed away, he still did the Seder, had his house, at his table, and they would leave the front chair empty, the chair of his Rebbe's. And the Rebbe, according to law now, has to lean back because unfortunately he wasn't there anymore. But he could have seen uncomfortable it was, because to him the Rebbe was still there in a spiritual level. But from the other side, the law is now, he's not here physically, we have to lean back. But it was so difficult for him, he was just pushing himself around. How's he going to lean back in front of Rebbe? And this is why Rabbi Lezer says to us, when Moshe Rabbeinu is there, Nadav and Avihu, great people, they were big tzaddikim, but you always have to listen or follow the rabbi. You have to follow to the rabbi that you are there. And only this way, when you do the great things, by following, by listening, this is how we can build a temple. And that's the great lesson it teaches us in this 6th parsha. You got to build a temple. In our life, you have to build a temple. We have to bring Mashiach. How do we do it? What is the first thing we have to do, Rabbi Lezer says? Follow the orders of your rabbi. And if you don't know what to do, you have to ask. And if you think you know what to do, you first have to ask. You don't do things on your own. Because the real idea of a Jew is that we have to listen to our superior rabbis. And by us being devoted and listening, and as in the words of the vocabulary in our Hasidic vocabulary, being a nullified towards your rabbi, this is your nullified towards Hashem, and this is how we're able to accomplish to have a pure, beautiful Beit HaMikdash in Mashiach. We have our Rebbe of today, and this has got to be our lesson. Any move we do, we got to look and follow. What is the Rebbe saying about it? And what the Rebbe says, this is how we do it. There's no such a thing that we do things on our own. Even it's the greatest thing in the world. What did the Rebbe say? This is Rabbi Lezer teaches us. Ask the Rebbe, what does it say? If the Rebbe says, you follow. If it didn't say, find out. If you can't find out, you just don't do. Let's follow that message, and let's rebuild our temple, and let's bring up Mashiach, and we'll be with the Rebbe together, with all Israel in Yerushalayim.